Greetings, I'm Barrett and welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today I am going to be showing you a playthrough of the new game Blood and Skulls, The Crucible. This game is by Nocturna Games. It is a narrative RPG game that is going to have multiple different branching paths. It has a campaign mode, a solo mode, even co-op. It has deep narrative progression. There's runic powers, dynamic enemies. Each of these things are going to be unique, and all the characters are completely unique and different. There's a lot going on in this game, and I'm excited to show you what is in store. In this particular video, we're going to be playing as two different characters. I'm going to show you kind of what these characters are all about, the components that go along with them. We're going to set up our game, and then I'm going to explain kind of what there is. Now, I do want you to be aware, this is a prototype, 100% prototype. Anything that you see here is subject to change, and I already know from what I've read in this rulebook that this is a completely stripped down version of what the game is going to be, but you'll at least be able to see the core mechanics of what are going on in the game. Now, if you're excited to see Blood and Skull, The Crucible, then I need you to meet me at the table. The world was once vast. Its names were countless. Its cities raised towers like spears defying the heavens. Now only ash remains beneath the crust. War made it deaf. Religion made it blind. Forbidden magic, both worshipped and feared, rotted it from within. Its kingdoms, drained of purpose, now crawl like wounded beasts, devouring the remains of the past just to survive the present. History is no longer written, it is unearthed from its ruins. No one knows where the whispers began. Some say they were always there, buried beneath the pulse of the earth. They speak of a place hidden under the skin of the world, a rift, an echo, an inevitable fate. They call to the crucible. Some are drawn to it without knowing why, guided by broken dreams or by a hollow they cannot name. Others flee, not from the world, but from themselves, from something that breathes down their necks each time they close their eyes. And a few, moved by blind faith or desperate conviction, believed they will find an answers within. But no one enters clean, and no one returns the same. There is a cave, they say, made of crystal and song, as ancient as sin and as alive as pain. It is guarded by a cult dressed in black, without faces, without voices, without judgment. Those who pass through its glowing throat emerge into another reality. On the other side, the world is gone. In its place lies a crimson desert, a sky that bleeds in perpetual storm, and a silence so thick it screams. Ruins rise from the sand like bone from a wound that never healed. The crucible is not a place. It is a trial, a mirror, a trap, a sentence. The creatures that dwell within obey no natural law. Some walk in skins of shadow, others whisper from corners that do not exist, sowing hunger, doubt, and desire. High atop the ruins, in places where no light reaches, unseen eyes follow your every step. There is no maps, there is no sun, there is no certainty. Among the rubble, fragments of mirror pulse with strange memory. They are said to seal the vortices, tears in the fabric of reality that open into the reflection, a dimension without mercy or forgiveness. But each fragment stares back, and if you dare to look, you may not see your own face, but the thing that you have always been and never dared to accept. That is the reflection, not a fire-ridden hell, but an abyss that calls you by your true name. And if you answer even once, you are no longer yourself. Many have tried to seal the vortices, to escape the crucible. Some say a path back exists. Others insist there is only one direction, downward, always deeper. Perhaps the crucible only releases those who are already hollow. Perhaps returning does not mean going home, but being born again in another body, another story, with another rune or the same one wearing a different face. But there is something everyone knows, even those who have lost their voice. Even if no one speaks aloud, the Crucible does not forget. The reflection does not forgive, and the one who returns never returns alone. What you see here is going to be our character sheet, and it is important that you have one and that you write everything down on this, because this is going to be rather fluid as to what is going to happen to you in this game. I do have my name up here and all the different other things where I'm not going to fill those out. Those are just extra things that would be really important in our campaign, but like scenario names, the species, all these things you can write down if you're on your own discretion. The mark of the Crucible, the School of Magic, unless of course you are a wielder of magic, then you'd want to put that so you at least know which one you're doing. We do have the attributes, and every one of them are going to be found on our character card. We're going to be playing as this guy, Dorna Hammerfall. He says, I will walk through the stone and flame until bringing them home. All right, that's this guy. He's going to be super cool. He's got his attributes, which is 4s across the board for movement, strength, agility, endurance, and willpower. And each one of these are going to be used for different things during the game. It also says here, I bear the weight of a dark vow to find my own in the deep of the stone, or to become the tomb myself. When you play through the game, you're going to be choosing the type of attacks you're going to do. He's allowed to do frenzied, direct, and relentless, and of course I'll explain some of that during the playthrough as we go through it. During his for his special rules, if he's doing his heavy blow, which is a type of attack you can make when performing a relentless attack, I can roll both strength and agility dice, and each unblockable hit will do 2 minor levels of pain instead of 1. He also has an ability called Immovable Guard. If he does not move during the descent phase, which the game is broken into 3 different phases, and I will explain those, of course, when we go to the game, you gain 1+1 defense dice for this turn, and it cannot be pushed in by any effect, even a Minotaur's charge, it says. For this particular instance of the game, I do actually start with an item here from the armory for him. He starts with the Shield of Dawn. The Shield of Dawn is going to be, it says here, it shines not to blind, but to hold the darkness back. It's defensive gear. For bonus, once per turn, you may cancel 1 push result against you. And to master it, I have to roll a d10 plus my endurance. So whenever you gain an item in this game, you have to see if you can master its ability. And you're going to do that by rolling a d10 plus endurance. Once you do that, you have mastery over that item and then can use it. What you're seeing down here are glory, mission, and seals. Those are going to be different resources we're going to be gaining and spending them to gain different things for our characters or performing different things during the scenario. There is a spot here called Legacy, which is kind of interesting because if a character actually dies in the game, you may gain a legacy, which could be an increase in some of your stats or a decrease in some of the stats. Maybe it was somebody that was super important to you that died, and so something bad could happen to you as you play through it. These are the 3 different hit point tracks, you could say, but we are going to be calling them our pain tracks, and we have rupture tracks and terror tracks. These are the 3 different stats that you're going to be gaining in damage, and when you gain too much of this damage, your madness and corruption may advance, or you may completely die from the pain and rupture that you're going to gain. There is a possibility of gaining addiction. If you gain too much addiction, a character will fall and be taken out of the game, and certain items you're going to be able to use in the game. But if you use these items, it could gain some of these different rupture or terror, or maybe you'll be addicted to this thing, and after a certain amount of addiction, you get to the point where you can't stop using. You have to keep using that item. So there's a lot of different things you have to keep track of, and if you just try to do just the normal things without suffering any penalties, it's going to be a much harder experience. So you have to decide, do you want to, I guess, indulge yourselves in some of the extra weapons and items that are going to be given to you to give you extra bonuses, or are you just going to play it safe and possibly not even make it through? All right, this is our first character. Let's look at our second one. This is our second character we're going to be taking into the fight. This is what I like to call him Abs Man, because he has abs forever. This guy has abs forever. Look at this guy. This guy's out of control. This is Ithrin. He's actually a magic user, if you if you can guess that. It says here, let others chase glory or gold. I seek the secrets that shape the stars. All right, this is this character. And of course, he has his starting attributes right here, which I've written down. He has 4 movement, 2 strength, 2 agility, 2 endurance, endurance, and 4 willpower. Now, a lot of his stuff is going to be doing willpower because he is using the Shadow Veil of Magic, so that's how he's going to be casting a lot of the spell, is with his willpower. As we go through, of course, we'll be gaining glory, mission, and seal points that we can use. He hasn't taken any pain or anything yet. He does have something in his inventory called the Codex of Black Chains, and he also has some special rules. First, he's able to use any of the 3 different attacks, or he can use spell casting. He has a Sun Gem that he can use once per scenario, which inflicts 1 automatic minor level of pain, which is basically giving 1 damage to a target in melee or ranged. Additionally, I can roll on a will +8. On a success, the enemy becomes disorientated and can't move until the end of its next activation. Now, I can only do that once per scenario that we play. So that is something I might want to kind of save until we have a lot of problems. Then I can maybe just bust that out. He does come with his Codex of Black Chains. Its illumination are not only written, lamentations are not only written, they are bind the very souls that clans or dares to read. Sorry, the choice of fonts made it a little bit tough. This is an arcane grimoire. Its effect: once per phase, you may cast an additional spell. It allows you to repeat that. Normally, you cannot repeat the same actions in this game, but for this card, I could. But of course, the consequences: each time you do that, I'm going to gain 1 corruption and 1 madness. So he'll be going up these madness and corruption tracks, and we don't want to do that because the more of that we gain, the closer we can come to dying. And when you do die in this game, you kind of get one last gasp, which gives you the ability to try to release some of this madness or corruption that could potentially kill you. If you're still not able to do that, then you do what is called the descent into the anti-hero's path. And of course, that's going to give you like one final thing that people will remember, or maybe not remember, that you did in this specific scenario that made it super powerful and gave you the way to make this make you actually succeed in the mission. Who knows? Basically, you get kind of one final death attack blow that you can do that kind of breaks some of the rules in the game that gives you the ability to kind of try to take out something before you're taken out yourself. With our characters done, let's look into the lore of the game and also what is going to be for our specific mission we're going to be doing. Now that we've looked at our characters, I'm going to talk about our Act 1 introduction. This particular mission has 3 acts that we are going to follow, and we're going to set this up. Then I'm going to explain how the turn order goes, and we're going to begin the game. Act 1 intro, it does say, the Crucible breathes around you. The earth trembles, walls whisper, and the air thickens with the stench of rot. From the depths of the reflections, cracks open, and void twisted creatures born of hunger and hatred. You are not the first to walk these lands, but perhaps you are the last with a chance to endure. The echoes of those who fell before you still bleed through the stones, and now it is your turn to descend. So at this point, we're going to place out our board, which is shown here. We have all the different pieces we're going to need, and it does show where our heroes are going to go right down there. We get to choose our place. This particular one is called the Web of Echo. And here's our setup. There is going to be what's called an enemy vortex. That is this right here. It does have a north facing, so we'll be placing that on the board in the north facing. It has specific numbers here to show the order in which things will spawn onto that vortex. And it says here it's in the north center, 2x2 orientated scenery. I have an echo barrier, which is going to be right here. This is an echo barrier. It is going to provide cover, and there also is an unholy flame, which is a hazard that you'll take damage if you're actually standing in it. There are different mystery tokens out on the map. That's these. If you ever walk onto a mystery token, you can roll the die. A 1 to 2, you find a trap, and you take 1 point of pain, or 1 minor pain. And then 3 to 4 is nothing, but 5 to 6, you get to find a treasure. And our treasure deck is located here. This is our treasure deck. When you do play through the real game, this treasure deck is actually going to be, from what I understand, multiple sets of cards. But for this particular demo purpose, we're just putting all the cards together to create our treasure deck for this particular set of missions. The loot that enemies drop is none, so we are going to be fighting these horrible spiders, which I'm super fond of because I'm deathly afraid of anything with more than 4 legs. These are called the Daughters of Shadow, and they certainly do look horrible. If I ran into one, I probably would just die of fright. They have the miniatures right here. These are what we're going to be fighting against. Uh, the Daughters of Shadow do have an on-hit ability called Inflict Poison, which is located right here. It's going to cause 1 additional minor level of pain, so you'd actually take 2 damage if they actually are going to hit you. This does start with 2 minor levels of pain, so if we're able to do 2 minor levels of pain, we are able to destroy them. They do perform what is called a direct attack, as opposed to us, which had access to Frenzied and Relentless, which are going to be different attacks that allow you to go at different times in the order. It also has a thing called Clinging Web. The figures engaged with the spider cannot disengage by any means, not by pushes, abilities, or special movements. They may only be freed by killing the spider. And they have an ability called Terror. Whenever I engage a creature in combat for the first time in the act, it's going to inflict 1 minor level of terror and applies separately for each creature. So each one of these is terrifying. That's an understatement for me. We are going to be going through different waves of these. So each turn we're going to be spawning certain amounts of these spiders out onto the board. Our victory conditions is if we are able to close the vortex or if we're able to survive until turn 5. If we can make it all the way through 5 turns, we have completed the scenario. There is a different scaling rules for 2 or solo heroes. And since we are going to be playing with 2 heroes, we're going to be spawning 2 spiders on turn 1 and then 1 per turn for a maximum of 2 spiders out on the board. Here's our board all set up. I can place my enemies or heroes, I guess, anywhere I want. I'm actually going to place them here and here. We're going to try to go for some of these things right off the bat and maybe get some cool, awesome abilities. We don't start with anything out there because it doesn't say that we start with anything in the vortex or on the board at all. So our characters are all set to go. We do have some cards up here that I haven't talked about. We have secret and turbulence cards. Secret cards are cards that we can give to our characters to gain secret objective that they have to perform during the game. Of course, this is way more exciting when you have a group of players. If you're playing solo, you can still use it, but you will know what they all are. But if you're playing with other players, you're not going to know what their secret goal is. So his particular goal could be something like, don't take any damage on a turn. And so he might just go hide over here. And you're like, why are you hiding? We need to stop this gate. Or maybe it could be something where when they get attacked, you could choose to not roll dice and take a ton of damage. And people are like, why are you taking damage? Well, it completes my objective, which is super cool, because then once you do, you get some extra bonus. The turbulence cards are something that can affect the entire scenario that you're playing. For this particular scenario, we are going to play with the turbulence cards just so I can show them off a little bit. So we're going to give these a little shuffle here. There's only, like I said, this is a prototype. So all the amount of decks that we have here are super stripped down. They are super stripped down. I'm not going to know how many times I can say super stripped down. There are going to be a ton of decks and a ton of tokens and lots of different things that are going to be able to, that you're going to get in the actual Kickstarter if it comes to fruition when it gets to the final release. But like I said, for this particular prototype, I only have 4 different turbulence cards. We'll just draw this one. See what we have. We have Blood Rain. It says here, the sky weeps and the earth drinks in sorrow. It is in the sky's gift to the maddened, a rain that ignites the beast. Time for fear. So all enemies gain an extra attack die for the entire scenario. Oh, that's pretty bad. Okay, so all the enemies are going to have +1 attack dice. That's horrible. Okay, we'll put that up there just to remind myself. Hopefully I don't forget. Well, actually I do. I hope I forget, so I don't have to get hit by as many bad guys. That'd be pretty nice. I am not going to play with the secrets, but I will show you kind of what these are, because I don't have, I'm just playing 2 characters, and it's more fun when you have other people playing with you. Here's one secret, for example. This one says, once per scenario, give one of your forbidden equipment cards to another hero. If that hero uses it, your pact is complete. And then I get a reward. I get 1 glory and +1 corruption when drawing this reward. Oh, all right. So that's something. The glory is kind of like, I shouldn't say experience points, but it's a resource that you can use to help you heal, or actually even seal rifts is stuff you can use glory for. So there's a lot of different things you can use glory for, but that's just a couple of them. Here's another one if you're interested in seeing these. It does say, this one says you cannot move more than 3 spaces away from the, oh, sorry. You are bound to protect an allied hero. You cannot move more than 3 spaces away from them and must join every combat they engage in. If they survive, gain 1 glory. Curse. If they die, I gain 1 madness instead. Oh, barf. So you got to keep the people safe. You got to keep your friends safe. So those are just some of the secrets that are out there that we could play with, but like I said, I'm choosing not to for this one. There are 3 different phases in the game: the descent phase, the crucible phase, and then the sanctum phase. The first is the descent phase. This one is going to start with heroes activation. Each hero will activate based on per turn based on their roll, which is going to be a D10 plus their will. Whoever has the highest is going to go first. If you tie, you do roll again. You are able then to perform 2 actions per turn, but you can only perform 1 of each of these actions. Once we are done, we're going to spawn enemies. So we'll place them into the scenario based on the scenario or vortex rules. Then they're going to activate based on their own roll for this plus their willpower. Now, of course, the willpower for our spiders is 1. So we're going to roll the D10 for each spider and add it +1, and whoever has the highest number is going to go first. Then it says when activated, it's going to follow the AI rules, which are going to move, engage, and attack if possible. And I'll explain how that goes when we get to them. We'll see which one of our 2 characters goes first. He has a 9 and he has a 5. So that means that our dwarf is going to go first. Now our goal is to seal the rift that is up there. So he is going to move his speed value, which is going to be 4. He's going to move 1, and since he moved onto that, I get to roll a d6. 1 and 2 is going to be it's a trap. 3 and 4 nothing. 5 or 6 I'm going to gain an item. Oh no, I got a trap, so I'm going to take a minor level of pain. So I'm going to cross off one of my boxes here. That was horrible. And then I'm going to remove this from the board. That was bad. I've moved 1 space so far. I can go 4 more. 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to move right over there. I don't want to get too close to it because I don't want them to come down and be able to hit me. I'm hoping I can get to them and attack them first. Hopefully his luck is better. Our magic user is going to go 1, 2, 3 and grab this and then move 1 more up there for 4. Let's see if he found anything great. He did. He found an item. So he's going to be able to grab a item on top of the deck, which is forbidden. Now, like I said, normally these would be all separate decks, but for this particular filming circumstance, we only have one huge giant deck here. I found the Prism of Damnation. Hold the blade here. Hold the black heart to the light and watch the world unravel. It's a withered object. Okay. Effect. Once per scenario, automatically negate an enemy's full attack roll. The consequence, though, is each time you do this, I'm going to gain 2 madness. I'll put this with his other item here. He can only ever use one of a specific item per turn. So he has a forbidden item already. So if I want to, I'll just stack them like that. And if I decide which one I want to use, I have to change that. So right now, I really think the book is better because nothing's coming at me and I can cast multiple spells. Now we're going to activate our enemies, or spawn them, I should say, and they're going to spawn 2 enemies into the vortex. We're going to place 2 of them right up there. The vortex itself is pretty much, it blocks all lines of sight. You cannot see into it. Only the enemies can actually move onto it. So if you get pushed into it, you're going to take damage as well. So the vortex is bad city if you're actually trying to get next to it, unless of course you're trying to close it, which is our goal. I'm going to roll for each spider to see which one is going to go first. We got a 9 and a 3, so this one is going to activate first. It's going to try to make its way to the closest target, and it's going to try to get there in the straightest line possible, going down and then over. Before, it's not going to do any zigzagging moves. It's just going to move down and over until it kind of mates that specific area, 2 different vortex or vertical lines. But you can move diagonal in this game if you wish to, but they're not. They're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the first one that's going to move. Then this one's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right to there. That's as far as they can go. They do not have any ranged attacks, so that's the end of their activation. At this point, we would go into the Crucible phase, which has different attack types. Remember, we can choose any of these 3. They're going to be doing direct, which is going to be a balanced and going to be using their agility. If we decide to go be frenzied, no matter what the agility rolls on our enemies versus us were, we would go first against them. Where direct, it would be based on the agility roll, who goes first. And relentless is we would go after the direct attack, but we get to use both our strength and our agility when we roll our dice. And we're going to be rolling d6s to see if we hit, and you'll see that pretty soon when I go into combat here. Though if you do fast, you're only going to be using your agility dice, but you're going to be using only half of them. You're going to be using it divided by 2. The initiative order is frenzied, direct, and relentless, just like I said. The attack rolls, the attacker is going to roll dice. The defender is going to roll based on its endurance. You're then going to compare hits versus blocks pushes versus pushes. Any remaining hits equal levels of pain inflicted. So the way the dice work is every 5 and 6 is technically going to be potentially a level of pain, where 3 and 4 are going to be pushes, where you're going to be pushing enemies or yourself away. You're going to be able to block them with endurance. So if you roll them up, you're going to be trying to match them. If you're able to match them, you're able to remove them from the pool. And if we got, like, for example, a 2, 3, and this versus their rolls, we'd be able to get the 6 out of there, but we wouldn't be able to block the 4. And if we had a 5, we still wouldn't block the 4 because it does not match from how I understand it. So that means that I would get pushed 1 once it's all said and done. But before that happens, if there's a surviving enemy, it may strike back immediately. So it's going to be able to counterattack using the same attacking system up here. Then we would resolve any pushes, which could make you move. We could collide or even hit or walk into or move through specific terrains, which would then affect our characters. For example, this unholy flame, if you're like this unholy flame, for example, any miniature crossing or ending in this square is engulfed by dark fire and suffers a minor level of pain automatically. And you're going to get 1 each turn until you leave that flame. So don't go in the flame. None of the Crucible steps are going to happen, so we're going to move to the Sanctum phase. And heroes not engaged may act. You can do any of the 2. I can do a ritual, which I can spend glory to close vortex or trigger scenario effects. I have the ability to exchange, which I can trade items or equipment with anybody that I'm adjacent to. If I have any healing magic or abilities, I could cast those spells now. The specific rituals that you can do, this is kind of the backbone of this Sanctum situation here, is you can do what's called the Ritual of Purification. You have a difficulty of 6+ on your willpower roll. It costs you 1 glory, and you're able to remove 1 level of corruption or madness from yourself. You can do the Ritual of Cauterization, which reduces 1 minor level of pain. It could also remove a rupture or terror as well. That again costs 1 glory, and you have to get 6+ on your willpower roll. The big one is the Ritual of Return, which would reduce 3 minor levels of pain, rupture, or terror, but the difficulty is 8 plus that, plus the amount of damage levels of the ruin being reduced. So this would be a 9, and you have to roll your willpower in order to do it. And I apologize. The other ones were actually 6+ the level of the ruin being. So if I had 1 madness, I'd need a 7+. If I had 2 madness, I'd need an 8+. And each one of these does cost glory. The final one, which reduces 3, costs 3 glory points to do. And if you do spend the glory and fail the roll, you still spend that glory. Now, how do you get glory, you ask? That's a great question. Glory is a resource that you're going to gain throughout the entire, not only this mission, but all through the campaign. Glory is going to be gained, 1, by inflicting at least 1 minor level of pain on an enemy, surviving after receiving at least 1 minor level of any ruin, or successfully casting a spell in a turn, and it does not include specialty spells. So whenever he casts a spell, we're going to gain 1 glory. If we're able to successfully disengage from combat, we get a glory, and performing any narrative heroic action as granted by fellow players is going to be gaining glory. So for us, more often than not, it's going to be from attacking and casting and defending against the enemy. But as we go forward, we might gain more because of the things we might have that we're going to build up through the campaign. Okay, that was the first turn. Let's roll up our dice and see who gets to go first in this particular turn. We'll roll this guy up. He got a 5 and he got a 10. So that means he is going to be going first. Now, one thing I didn't discuss was the spells that our character has. These are the spells that he has. He has Dark Discharge, Protective Shadow, Veil Wall, Cry of the Void, and Abyssal Touch. From what I understand, he does have access to all of these. We have different types of offensive, defensive, and control spells that you're able to choose from. Now, of course, you can only perform 1 of these a turn. The phase you're able to perform them in is found here. You can prove 1 of these, actually I should say per phase. So, for example, Dark Discharge, Protective Shadow, Veil Wall, and Cry of the Void can only be done during the descent phase, which is unique because it's actually during kind of more the movement phase than it is during the combat phase. The Crucible phase is mainly built for melee and melee attacks. So these are the range of the specific spells that and it's going to show the difficulty. So I'll be rolling my willpower versus their endurance, and if I'm able to succeed, I inflict 1 minor level of pain. The protective shadow is I need an 8+ against my willpower, and 1 ally gains a defensive die during the turn, so that can help with defense. Then we have the Veil Wall, which places some impenetrable tokens out there that block line of sight. The other one here is the Cry of the Void, where the enemy is going to lose 1 attack die. Now remember, our enemies all have +1 attack die right now, which is super bad. Which is bad. Now, of course, the other one I can cast during the Crucible phase is also an offensive spell, and it's an Abyssal Touch. And at each hit or push blocked by the mage causes 1 minor level of pain to the attacker. So again, we're going to be going willpower versus endurance. Now, of course, I believe this is going to happen during the Crucible phase, which is going to be in the range of melee. So if I'm next to one of the spiders, I could potentially do this to them. In this particular tutorial, of course, I am only offered the Shadow Veil magic. There are a few other ones that have been talked about. There's also one called the Crimson magic and Whisper magic as well. And each of these do fall under a specific rune, either pain, rupture, or terror. And mine particular one is under the corruption, or sorry, they're either under the addiction, corruption, or madness schools, and mine's actually under the corruption, which may come into effect when I go to cast my spells, and I'll show you what I mean. But first, I get to move. I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 up to here. I think it's going to be my plan. And now my range is 8. Now, from what I understand with line of sight, the only thing that really blocks it is things that they tell you to. So like this is going to block line of sight, and so is this vortex up here. But I don't believe characters block line of sight in this game, and either do these particular things. Actually, now I think about it, I want to get one of those things. We're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, right over here. We're going to grab this thing. I'm going to roll a die and see what I get. Come on, 5 or 6. I got a 4. I got nothing. That's too bad. I got absolutely nothing from that. Now at this point, I am going to now attempt to cast my spell with my second action during the descent phase. The spell I choose to cast is going to be that Dark Discharge. To cast a spell, you have to gain 1 level of pain. Then I am going to roll my willpower, which is going to be 4, against the enemy's endurance, which is going to be 2. I'm going to roll these up. If I at least have 1 more success than they do after this is done, I am going to be able to successfully cast my spell. I have a 6, a 2, a 4, and a 3. They're able to block my 4 to get that out of there. This 1 and 2 are not going to do anything. The order of these dice is 1 and 2 does nothing. 3 and 4 does push, and 5 and 6 is going to be a success. So these are all actually going to do nothing. So I do have 1 more success than they have and weren't able to stop. So that means my spell was successful. I'm going to inflict 1 minor level of pain. Now, if I were to have failed to cast the spell, say he was able to block that and I had like maybe another 4 or something, and I was not able to successfully cast my spell, I could choose to gain 1 level of the rune of my associated spell focus, or spell school, I should say, which in my case, the Shadow Veil magic is corruption. I could gain 1 corruption to have the effect actually succeed. But I didn't have to do that, so I was able to do 1 point of damage. I don't have any tokens for that, so I'm just going to put a die right next to this guy. I'm going to shoot that guy. Now I do have my Codex of the Black Chains, which once per phase, you may cast an additional spell. It allows to repeat. So from what I understand, allows to repeat means I could cast that same spell again, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to take out this spider. Now remember, the range I had on that spell is going to be 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can get to right there. What I'm really hoping for is that I'm going to be able to take this spider out, he can take this spider out, and nothing's going to get attacked. That's my plan. So I get to still roll my 4 willpower dice versus their 2 dice. Let's see how that goes. This time it was really bad. I did not succeed. They were able to stop that. So I am going to gain 1 level of corruption to make that spell go through, and I'm going to destroy this guy. So going back over to my character, I'm going to gain 1 level of pain and 1 level of corruption, which is super bad. Now, interestingly enough, I did gain a glory point because I was able to do 1 level of pain on my turn. With his turn complete, our dwarf is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, so it can stand right here next to this character, and we're probably going to try to swing at this guy. But first we have to spawn another spider right here. It does say we spawn a new one on rounds 2 through 5 with a maximum of 2 spiders out on the board. So now we have 2, that's our max. So if we don't actually take either of these out, one doesn't spawn next turn, which is kind of nice, but also that means there's more things out there trying to kill us. So this guy is going to activate, and so is he, but let's find out in what order they activate. He got a 2 and he got a 3, and their willpower, or sorry, their agility, or willpower, sorry, is going to be 1. So he's got a 3 total and he's got a 4 total. So this one is going to activate first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's the closest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to right there. Not able to engage with me, which is just fine. And this guy is going to be turning and going to be engaged right there. Now remember, once these are engaged with me, I cannot do anything about it because I cannot escape them because of their, what is it, the clinging web that they have. We're going to go into the Crucible phase now. And at this point, I have to decide the type of attack I want to do. I'm going to do a direct attack, which is going to be a balanced attack. And they're going to do a direct attack too. And the order they're going to activate is going to be based on the initiative values that we have in front of us. So I am going to be going first. I do have 4 dice that I get to use for my agility when making an attack, a direct attack. If I went reckless, I'd also be able to add my strength to the roll. And if I went frenzied, I'd do my agility, but I'd only get half my dice. Now, since I know I'm going before him because of the die, I'm going to go with just a normal direct attack. He does have 2 endurance that he is going to roll to try to block my dice. Let's see how this goes. Hopefully we're able to take this guy out. I got a 5, a 5, a 1, a 4. Oh, look at this. This is fantastic. These 4s don't block anything. This 1 is a total miss. And these 3 all go through. So each one that goes through and is unblocked is going to be 1 minor level damage of pain. He only has 2, so he's going to be removed from the board. If he had survived, he would then counterattack against me, but he did not. So he is not going to be around from the board. I do get 1 glory for that character for inducing 1 level of pain on that turn. At this point, we're going to move into the Sanctum phase because everything else is done. And I did forget to give myself a Madness and Corruption because of using that book. So we have 2 levels of corruption and 1 level of madness. And the amount of glory that our magic character has is actually more than 1. He did inflict 1 point of minor level of pain in his turn, but he also survived after receiving at least 1 minor level of any ruin, which he did gain some pain because of casting spells. And he also gained 1 for successfully casting a spell. I believe that's how that goes. So he actually has 3 glory right now. And I'm not sure if this is right, but the first turn, he actually took 1 level of pain just from that trap. So I believe he's going to be at 2 glory because he did survive after receiving at least 1 minor level of any ruin during that turn. Now here, I could do one of the rituals. I could do like a ritual of cauterization to try to reduce this back to 0, but I think I want to keep the glory. This character is, of course, going to spend 1 glory going down to 2. We're going to try to get rid of that level of corruption. So I'm going to roll my die. So I need a 6, 7, 8 plus on this roll. I got a 3. I did not make it. I got 3 plus 4 is 7. I almost did, but not quite. So he was not able to remove a point of corruption during the ritual step. Or I should say the sanctum step, sorry. Now, of course, if I was engaged in combat, I wouldn't have been able to do the Sanctum step. And with that complete, we are going to move into the next turn. We'll roll up our willpower to see how our characters do. He got a 9. That's really good. This character got a 7. So this character is going to go first right here. And he wants something. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to go up here and try to gain this particular thing. I'm going to leave that 9 right next to him so I don't forget what number he had. I'm going to roll a d6 and see if he finds something. He found a trap again. So he took 1 level of pain. I'm going to give him another glory for that too. Why not? He's going to be up to 3 because he's finding nothing but pain and agony out there. And this character is also going to move 1, 2, 3 over to here to grab this. We're going to see if we can find anything for him other than pain and agony that guy keeps finding. Nope, found nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm going to bring the 7 with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm 5 spaces away from that enemy. Let's fire out that bolt again and really get him. I got 4 to his 2. Let's see if we're able to get him with our spell. Oh, look at that. We smacked him real good. I have to take 1 level of pain for doing that, but I am able to do 1 level of damage to this spider. Now I have to decide if I want to hit him again by using my thing. I've got so much corruption already. I got 2 corruption, 1 madness. I think I'm going to hold. I don't think I am going to attack him this turn. I think instead he's going to get right up to me, and he's actually going to attack me this turn. There's not much I'm going to be able to do about that. But he's going to activate now, and I also have to spawn in another spider onto the board that's just a little off camera there, and I'm going to roll our dice and see what we have here. He's got a total of 1. That's too bad for him. The other spider, on the other hand, is going to have a 2. Too bad for you. 1 for you and too bad for you. He's going to move 1, 2 to right here and be able to attack there. And he's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to right here. And it's going to be able to attack me right there. Now, both my characters are going to do direct attacks this turn, mainly because my initiative values are higher. We're going to start over here with his 9 because it's the highest number here. So I get 4 attack dice to his 2 endurance. Let's see how we do. Now he'll roll them up, and I did terrible. Absolutely terrible. I did nothing to him. So at this point, he's going to counterattack me. So he's going to roll his agility dice, which is 3, against my endurance, which is 4. We'll see if we're able to prevent any of this. He got 1 push, but I was able to, or he got a push, sorry, and I was able to block the push. These don't do anything. These ones don't cancel anything. So the only thing left is 1 minor level of pain that I'm going to take. So he is at 3 levels of pain. Now, sadly, I didn't do any damage to him, so that guy's still alive, and I don't get any glory for it. Meanwhile, over here, I am going to attack with my wizard. Now, sadly, he's only got 2 strength, or 2 agility. But in this case, he's got, what, 3 endurance, or 2 endurance. So it's 2 on 2 here. Let's see how this goes. We're going to try to get him. Hopefully we can do some good stuff here. I got a 5. That's going to do 1. These 3s aren't going to do anything, and the 1's not going to do anything. So I did 1 level of pain. I'll put that right here. I am going to gain a glory for that, bringing myself to 3. Now this thing does, of course, get to counterattack me. And since I only have 2 endurance on this character, because he's not very enduring, even though he doesn't have a lot of endurance, but I'll tell you, he's got abs forever. This guy's awesome. All right, he's going to attack here. I think the spider has 3 agility. I'm going to grab 3 black dice and 2 white dice for myself. Here's our counter attack. Let's see how it goes. Oh, I was able to block the 5. The 6 is not going to block anything, and the 1 and the 3, or the 1 doesn't do anything, but the 3 will push me. It's going to push me 1 space back right to there, which actually is going to help me out because then I can do something during my Crucible. So not the Crucible step, sorry, the Sanctum step. Oh, but I forgot about the webs. I don't think I can be pushed back. The figure is engaged with the spider, cannot disengage by any means, not by pushes abilities. Nope, I can't be able to move away from him. I have to stay right next to him there. Ooh, this is bad. But he does have 1 level of pain. I took that die away by accident. There you go. So I only have to do 1 more to him. We're moving into the 4th round. At this point, I'm going to put a die. I'll put it right up here to show what round we are. Number 4. I'm going to be spawning in yet again another spider, but there can only be 2 on the board. So unless we kill one, I don't think any other spiders are going to come in. So sadly, I did split the party, which probably wasn't my best plan. I'm going to take all the dice away and we'll roll these up again. We go to our characters first. Now remember, I cannot disengage. This is going to be bad. Oh no, this 1 is terrible for him. We'll see what they over here. 3, that's no good either. Oh boy, that's not good. Okay, those guys are not going to be able to move, but I could do in action. I can still cast spells while I am engaged with an enemy like that. So I am going to cast my spell that hopefully can kill that spider. I get to roll 4 dice, and he gets to roll 2 endurance dice. I'm going to steal that die from the turn marker up there and just use my 4 white ones. I need to get a 5 or 6. I got a 5. That's fantastic, and all these dice don't matter because they all block each other or don't do anything. So this does do 1 point of damage. It is going to kill that Daughter of Shadows, which is one of the spiders, and I'm going to gain 1 or 2 glory, going to 5, and I'm going to gain 1 level of pain, bringing my pain score to 4 for him. But he was able to take that guy out, and that's I almost took the turn marker away. And that's going to be the end of his activation. It's now going to be time for his activation. Oh, I apologize. This one should have gone first because he had a higher initiative value. Our dwarf can't do anything. He can't move, disengage, do a ranged attack, or cast a spell. He doesn't have any of those options when adjacent to that spider. So the spider is going to spawn in. That's awesome. And then he's going to activate, both these spiders are going to activate, which is going to be super bad. I didn't even think about this. I should have maybe moved him up. Oh, he could move. He can move 1, 2, 3, 4, because I can do 2 actions in any order. Sadly, it's still not going to be enough for me to get up to help him because this spider's way too close to him. But this one's going to activate as well. Uh-oh. This is going to go 1, 2 right here. That's bad news. Both those guys are going to attack. Now, if you haven't noticed, this game does move pretty fast. This is a quick skirmish game to get you in and out of combat, and it's fun and allows you to get back to the story pretty quick. There are 2 spiders attacking me here, so I'm able to simplify this using just a multi-combat system. If there are multiple activations out here, their actions are going to be carried out according to initiative order. So it is going to be this person first, then that person. Where'd his die go? I think I took it away. I think it was a 5, if I remember right. It does say that the attack and defense are distributed at the player's discretion. I have to admit I'm a little confused about how this completely works. And I'm sure this will be way more fleshed out in the real version. But from what I understand, these spiders are all going to attack just as one. And I'm going to be blocking them based on my endurance roll here. It's like this guy's going to come in with 3 and I would block, and then this guy's going to come in with 3. So you got 2 5s and a 1. The 1s aren't going to mean anything, but the 2 5s are. And this guy'd come in with 3 as well. 3, 3, and 2. I'll be able to block one of the 3s. So basically the only thing that really mattered from all those rolls is the 2 5s, which is going to cause me 2 levels of pain. But I did actually gain +1 defense dice because I did not move. And of course, remember when I said I'm going to place that off to the side and hopefully forget that the enemies get +1 attack dice? Totally forgot the guys get +1 attack dice the whole time. Now, of course, the good news is these cards are optional if you wish to use them. And apparently I decided not to use them. I totally forgot. I totally apologize for not being able to do that. I do get to a movable guard if he does not move, which I did not. I get +1 defense dice this turn. So I do get 1 more defense dice. The 3 is not going to help. I was hoping for a 5. That would have blocked one of the 2 levels of pain coming in. He's now at 5. He does get to counterattack, and I'm actually going to use my heavy blow because I knew I was going to probably be going last here. Heavy blow allows me to perform a relentless attack, which rolls both strength and agility when I do a relentless attack here. And I'm going to use my relentless attack to do this heavy blow. This will be really super good, I hope for. I get to roll strength and agility dice, which means I'm going to get 4 for my strength dice and 4 for my agility dice. I get to roll 8 dice. We'll roll these all up, and then we'll roll their defense. I got a ton of 6s, which is fantastic, and I got 2 4s and 2 3s. I'm going to roll their defense. They got 3 is what they are. Now, I'd roll all these together, but 2 different colors of dice from how I understand the multiple dice or multiple attack rule. I could be wrong about that, but 3 agility, 5s and 1s. Those aren't going to save anything. Next one's is going to be a 6 and a 5, so 1's going to stop 1. These 5s aren't going to stop anything. So I'm able to do 2 points of damage distributed how I want to, I believe, and I'm going to distribute it and kill both those dudes. Get them off the board. I'm going to gain a glory for that because I was able to kill a spider, and I'm going to gain a glory because I did 1 level of pain, and I also took a level of pain, which is fantastic, and I survived. So we're going to go to turn 5. Now, this is the last turn. So at this point, I could choose to try to close this, or I could keep my glory and just let this turn run out and move on to the next mission. But before that happens, I do get to choose if I wish to try to save anything here. And I am going to use one of my glory going down to 4. That's my plan here. And I'm going to try to remove one of the levels of corruption I have. And again, I think I forgot to... No, I didn't. Okay. We're going to roll this up. I got a 3. Again, did not do it. I needed an 8, which is too bad. He's going to use one of his glory going down to 4 to try to get rid of one of the levels of pain that he has. So I'm going to roll this up and add my willpower. I got 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So he was able to succeed. So I'm going to remove one of his levels of pain. That's going to be fantastic. And just to show you how this works, I am going to try to close this gate. I'm going to roll my guy. Well, they both got 1s. That's so bad. But they're going to be able to move. He's going to move 1, 2 to here, and this one's 1, 2 to there. And once they do their movement, now they're going to try to seal this gate with their other action. I lied. It actually doesn't happen during this turn. It happens during the Sanctum stage. So at this point, there is no Crucible stage. Oh, wait, this guy spawns in. I forgot about him. He's going to spawn in right here, and he's probably going to hit this dwarf real good, which is going to be super good. I'm going to roll this die up for him. He gets a 5. He's going to go first. He's going to attack the dwarf now with his 3 dice. Oh, this is getting really, really bad. I'm going to roll 3 dice. I do get 4 defense dice to his 3. Hopefully that's enough to do something. Please don't die. We got a 5. I get to block the 5. I don't get to block anything else with those, and this doesn't block, so I do take 1 point of pain again, which means I do get a glory, which is awesome. Now I could have chose to go before this spider with doing a frenzied attack, but I chose not to. It would have been better to. I would have only been able to roll 2 agility dice versus his 3. Just to kind of show you how that would have worked, I would have still rolled it. I wouldn't have done anything, which would have been super bad. So instead, I would have wanted to do a direct attack. So we would have just rolled the 4 dice for my damage and see how we do here. Well, not good. This thing's still alive. That's no good. Not at all. Awesome. Okay. Now we got problems because he's engaged. He can't do anything about it. Darn it, I'm not going to be able to close that gate. But I'll show you what it's all about. Going into the Sanctum step, if I am not engaged in combat, I can perform 2 actions. Actually, I could probably still close this gate because I could have him do it. He can't do anything, but he can do 2 actions during the Sanctum phase. In order to close it, I have to perform a willpower test, and I have a difficulty of 7+. So I get to roll a d10, add my willpower, but it costs me 2 glory to do this. So I'm at 4, so I'm going to go down to 2, and I got a 3 plus 4 is 7+, so I just barely did it. So I was able to seal this gate, but sad news, it takes you 2 successes to actually seal this gate. You have to do it on 2 successful deactivations in order to make the gate disappear. So I'm going to do it again with my other 2 glory I have. We'll see how we do. I rolled it a little bit off screen, but we got a 4 plus 4 again is 8, so that is enough to seal this gate. So this is going to disappear. We have sealed this off, which is fantastic, and that was going to end our mission. Now, of course, it would have ended at the end of the turn anyway because we only had to go to round 5, but I just wanted to show you a little bit how the gate seals. Now, of course, once we complete this round, we're going to gain some rewards. Each of our characters, for completing it, would gain a seal, is what they call them. Those seals can be spent for 5 glory. The mission ones here, these are the cool things, is if you do complete your secret mission, you would gain a mission token. Those mission tokens can be traded in for 3 glory. So this guy has 0 glory. Now, I'm not exactly sure I can do 2 of the same action during the ritual step, or sorry, not the ritual step, the Sanctum step. But again, I was just wanted to demonstrate how you would close a ritual or one of those rifts, one of these horrible, evil rifts. So just to show you that mechanic in there. That's the end of that first act. We would move into the second act, keeping exactly the same stuff we have. We would not gain anything new. We'd gain our seals and everything, which we can turn in for 5 glory if we wish to, which of course, when we move into the next turn, might help us get rid of some of these because we can roll against our willpower during the Sanctum step, which I'm apparently really bad at the Sanctum step, to be able to get rid of some of this corruption and pain because our guys are already really hurt moving into the next thing. Now, of course, another thing I forgot just playing to show you how this goes is, of course, when this person attacks, I'm supposed to gain 1 minor terror instead. And, of course, the venomous fangs are going to do 1 minor level of pain additional. So this guy probably took way more damage than he has here. That's my fault. I forgot a lot of the little rules in the game. But this is, of course, a prototype. So there are things, of course, I'm going to miss because I'm still trying to exactly learn how this works. But that is just the base of how this game goes. I just wanted to give you an idea of how the different dice work. So I do like the dice system where you're kind of comparing and removing dice based on how you're able to match them up. I think that's kind of cool. I do like the fact that the enemies are all completely different. The other ones that are part of this game are the Bonebreaker, the Cursed One, and the Orc Slayer. And each act will have its own prelude to it and its own setup. And this particular one is going to have us take on the orcs. So we're going to have all the different orcs out there, and would then eventually lead to Act 3, which if we're able to complete this one by sealing the 2 vortex or making it through round 5. Now, of course, sealing the vortex is way more important. You should instantly try to focus on that because trying to survive 5 rounds against all these enemies usually is pretty bad. Like I said, I actually think this guy should have probably been dead, if not close to dead, because I should have been taking extra damage from the poison from the spiders. That again is my fault and I apologize. But going into number 3 now, we're going to have to take on not only the Orc Stalkers, but the Daughters of Shadow, which is basically all these different enemies coming in us. And of course, we're going to have to take on the big giant guy here. He would come out here too. We'd have to take on the Bone Breaker, which would be this giant Bone Breaker guy. He's pretty awesome. He's a bad enemy. He's going to come in and attack you with relentless attacks and inflict 2 minor levels of pain. He'd probably take us out in less than a turn, which would be super bad. So there is one of the things that kind of is important is trying to position yourself around here, making sure you're able to take advantage of the different items that you can hopefully find out there. Also, when you're attacking, if you take out specific enemies, some of these are going to drop things. For example, the Bone Breaker here, it says that when you do kill him, he has a 6+ chance of dropping an item on the ground. So you roll that up, I got a 2, but say I got a 6, then he would drop one of the items and I would get that item if I'm next to him, which is super cool. Interestingly enough, if your character ever falls in battle and you can get a character over to him during that turn, they can maybe pick up one of the items that character has. And of course, you can only use 4 different items. There's Arcane, Red, Thirst, Forbidden, and then the Armory. You can only have 4 of these active at a time. So if you ever had 2 Red Thirst items or 2 Forbidden items, you wouldn't be able to use them all. Like for example, here's one of the Red Thirst items. This one has to do with the addiction rule that is in the game. And as you can see, this hourglass is fading time. And each use of the hourglass increases your addiction by 1. And the effects include for each level applied. But for level 1, if I use it the first time, I get +1 agility. Then I get +2 agility, but +1 corruption. +3 agility, +1 corruption, +1 minor level of pain. See how this gets worse, but it gets better at the same time? And of course, you ever take too much of the addiction, your character will fall in battle just from that alone. Then they have these arcane abilities as well that has the relics of the veil. You may reroll any failed dice results. Roll will versus the target's endurance to activate it. The consequence is on failure, I have to gain 1 level of terror as well, which is another thing I should have been gaining. This guy probably has like 5 terror on him as well because of all the different spiders that came running at him, because he's supposed to gain 1 each time he engages one of these enemies here. It applies separately for each creature. Every time he engaged in one, he should have gotten 1 terror. So these enemies are pretty relentless and they're pretty tough. I know it made it look like I kind of got through pretty easy, but not really, because there's still 2 more acts I would have to go through. And I don't think I have enough pain to be able to make it through all of those. The Armory, of course, does have different defensive gear or other weapons that you can use. There is a completely other character that I also did not play with that you can choose to play with as well. And that's Vandra. She's right here. She has her own set of stats on the back. She's more of a quick, nimble fighter. She has an ability to war cry. She's also like a leader of things. She can add +2 to attack. All adjacent enemies suffer -1 dice. So there are some things we choose. She also gets frenzied, direct, or relentless. She does not have any ranged attacks or anything like that. She's another melee type fighter that you can choose. Of course, if you look at the game found page, there are going to be a ton of different characters in this game that you can choose from. I think it's going to have a lot of replay value, not only in the different missions, but also in the different characters you can play. And of course, all the different items and stuff that you're going to gain. This is, of course, just a fraction of all the different things. I love the secrets. I like being able to have that secret mission you're trying to do that the other people don't know about. And of course, we totally forgot to use the turbulence. I apologize, but these turbulences are pretty cool. This one, all heroes begin with 1 madness. That's no good. Heroes cannot spend glory during the first 2 turns of the scenario. Oh, that'd be pretty devastating if I'm trying to go into the second act and having to get rid of some of this pain and have this particular turbulence appear out of nowhere. The fog of silence, that'd be so bad. Now, of course, this game wouldn't be complete with some super cool miniatures. I've always shown off the big giant guy. We also have orcs, and also we have the cursed ones as well. So we have the Orc Slayers, which are right here, and these are our cursed ones. They're kind of more of the werewolf type creature, which is kind of cool. So, and each one of those, of course, is a little bit different. Our orcs are going to have more probably direct attacks and runes of pain. They start with 2 levels of pain, but an Orc Stalker engages in an enemy during its movement phase. It gains +1 attack dice and charging in and attacking. This guy's got a ton of abilities here. You can pause it and read it if you want to, but it's a lot of stuff that this guy can do. Again, 2 minor levels of pain. So a lot of the normal minion type monsters do seem to have about the same amount of levels of pain, but of course, these giant guys have a lot more. The huge giant berserker guy He has 4 levels of pain that you have to try to get through on this guy, and he's got 5 endurance, so he's going to be blocking a lot of damage coming in to him. So there you have it. That is Blood and Skulls, the Crucible. This is, of course, a prototype playthrough. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough, and if you're interested in learning more about the game, please check out the Game Found link in the description of this video. Also, if you have any questions or anything else, please leave a comment in the comment section as well. I will try to answer any questions I can, or I'll reach out to the designer, and maybe the designer himself might even join our chat, or I should say our comment section, and be able to answer the questions for you. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell symbol so you know when more content comes out. I'm excited to see where Blood and Skull, the Crucible, goes from here. I'm excited to see some of the new characters that are going to come out and the new different missions that they have. The game plays really quick, which is super fun about this. So you can get this game on the table and play it with your game group really quick, and you'll be able to learn all about the different parts of this world. There is going to be branching story paths that go along with it. Not to mention, I love the different tracks of pain and rupture and terror and all the different things that could happen to your character that will affect the stories going forward. Now, if you're interested in supporting the channel, the link to our Patreon is found in the description of this video. Those that have joined the Patreon are shown here on the screen. Thank you so much for your patronage. It means the world to me. Of course, some of the perks that our Patreon supporters get is they get to help decide what games we play, also what happens inside our games. So when our characters need to level up or they need to choose new abilities, we usually set polls to have them help us decide how these games unfold for us. On top of that, they do get to watch all of our playthrough videos, usually a day or 2 ahead of time without commercial interruptions. Now again, please feel free to check out the link to the Game Found for Blood and Skulls, the Crucible. And if you're excited to see what Colin and I have coming up, then I need you to meet me at the table.